Hi there, welcome. This is the Kelly's Astrology podcast, where you can find insight, guidance, and understanding through astrology. I'm Kelly, and I'll be your host. Hey there, and thanks for joining me for another show. This week, I'm going to take a look at a featured astrological event for the week starting February 24. So we're looking at the very tail end of February. And I'm going to be talking about an unusual triple conjunction that involves the Sun, Saturn, and Mercury, who are all in Pisces right now. And that's going to happen on February 28th or February 29th, depending on whereabouts you are. Before I get to that, I'm so excited to tell you about an astrology retreat that I will be teaching in the Tuscan countryside in October of 2024. This is going to be the first time that I've had the very special privilege of teaching astrology in Italy. And I am so thrilled to be able to connect with so many of my online students in person there. This retreat is called Time Your Life with Astrology, and it's all about timing for 2025. In this retreat, it's a 5-day retreat. You're going to learn the techniques of transits and profections. You'll also get lots of juicy insights about the huge astrological changes that are ahead in 2025. I'll be talking about Uranus moving into Gemini, as well as Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries, and so much more. Our focus will be on what these major astrology shifts might mean for you personally, so you'll be guided to apply these timing techniques to your own chart. This is an intermediate level retreat, and it's ideal for students who already have a really solid understanding of the birth chart and have started working with timing techniques. If that's you and you want to join me on retreat in the Tuscan countryside in October, pop over to my website, kellysastrology.com. Just head to the calendar option in the main menu and then scroll down. The retreat is being hosted by Radiant Jane Retreats, and I'm going to include that direct link in the show notes below. So you can find out more, or you can register today via that link below. So with that exciting news shared, let's switch back to this very special aspect that is happening the last week of February. So Mercury, the Sun, and Saturn are all going to meet up at 9 degrees of Pisces. And this is a rare and unusual combination of planets. We typically get the Sun meeting Saturn. That happens every year in various zodiac signs, depending on where Saturn is. But this particular meeting of the Sun and Saturn, we've got one in Pisces this February of 2024, and we'll have another Sun-Saturn combination in March of 2025 that's in Pisces. After that, the Sun-Saturn combinations will shift to Aries, which is where Saturn is going next. So the Sun and Saturn come together every year, but it's only, 2 years out of every 30 that we get the Sun and Saturn in each sign. And right now that's in Pisces. So Sun, Saturn conjunct in Pisces, February 24, and then March of 2025. After that, we won't have the Sun, Saturn in Pisces combination for another 30 years. So it's 2 planets and then what sign and that adding in. To have Mercury in the mix, though, is a little more unique. Mercury and the Sun do meet up quite often throughout the year, but to have this Mercury plus Sun Saturn, that's just happening in February of 2024. We don't get this again next year. In fact, I had a look back through the ephemeris, and the last time that we had this triple lineup of the Sun, Saturn, and Mercury in Pisces was February of 1994. So a full 30-year cycle ago. So I share some of that technical background really just to help emphasize that even though we get this Sun-Saturn combination every year and we get Mercury and the Sun happening every few months, in fact, it's quite special when those 2 separate pairings kind of combine into this rare triple conjunction. So we're having one of those once a year Sun-Saturn combinations. At the same time, we're having one of those every few months Sun-Mercury combinations. And we get the three planets kind of joining together at once. And so those three planet combinations or three planet conjunctions are a little bit more unique and special. So one way to think about this influence or this aspect and how it might affect the end of February is that the middle of the last week of February really brings a very special chance to combine people and possibilities together that don't usually connect. In fact, you might find that you personally are more willing to collaborate or work with others, or you might find that you're more willing to put the effort in to help create a structure or a container or a plan or a goal for the future. There might be one of those unique or more rare opportunities that comes up for you in this last week of February. And so knowing that this is a little bit of a special combination of planets, it can help us really pay attention to what's going on around us, because these things are not regular every week, every month things. And so these themes of that unique, special, or rare experience might generally apply to what's going on in your life around February 28, and especially so around the topics of the Pisces part of your birth chart. So it is a little bit, it's one of those weeks where we've got something that's a real standout event. And that's why I want to call your attention to it so that you are aware of how significant what's going on is. Now, if we go a little further and we dive in to the planets that are in this triple conjunction and their concepts and their meaning, there are some extra insights that we can get. So we're going to take a look at the Sun and Mercury and Saturn. Now, whenever we get the Sun and Mercury together, we are getting this energy about ideas and insights, as if that light bulb moment is going off and it's really helping you better understand something. You have a piece of insight, you kind of see to the heart of something. And that can feel like a moment of clarity, or it can feel like that spark or that light bulb moment that reveals a solution or even an idea worth exploring. Those Sun-Mercury conjunctions are really fresh and really, they're very much about kind of renewing the mind. Sometimes that's about shaking off, a mental funk, and sometimes that's really choosing a fresh or different perspective. If we add Saturn into the mix, we get this weighty kind of long-term quality coming through. And so your ideas, your Mercury stuff right now might be more about major plans or long-range life dreams. The real kind of meaningful, serious stuff, which is the Saturn stuff. You might be writing down your vision for your future or talking about a fantasy for your dream life. And even though it might seem like a little bit of a far off, unrealistic fantasy, I would really encourage you to give voice to those dreams inside you this week. Sometimes that means saying it out loud to another person. Sometimes it is writing it down in a private journal. What we're trying to do is articulate what it is we're grappling with as this unusual combination of planets comes together, because even just describing the shape of the problem or the topic that you're grappling with, that is going to help bring some perspective, and it's going to open you up to those magical moments of insight or even intuition that can guide you forward. Saturn's presence in the mix this week also indicates we've got themes of personal responsibility, and it shows the potential for maturity. So that idea of learning from past experience, remembering I did this thing and then this happened and I liked that outcome, so I'm going to repeat that action, or I didn't like that outcome, so I'm going to change my actions. It's drawing on wisdom from the past. What have you learned over the years, being alive, making decisions, dealing with people, figuring out your career, all of those things. Saturn also wants to be really intentional and really thoughtful about any commitments or promises that are made. And so with Saturn in the mix, we're considering things, we're weighing them up, we're feeling into them, we're doing our research. Because when we make a commitment under a triple conjunction involving Saturn like this, we really are going in with a very dedicated approach, And we're kind of engaging in energy that is about long-lasting promises. So when we say we're going to do something under this triple link on Wednesday, the 28th, we're really going to follow through. Or when we make an agreement with another person, it's like we're locked into that. So we want to be really thoughtful and intentional about what we agree to so that we know we can follow through, we can uphold that agreement. Some of you might be realizing that at times it's actually up to you to set the parameters of what is and isn't okay. Circling back to that idea of personal responsibility, sometimes we have to kind of say what is and isn't okay, or we have to be clear about what we won't be able to participate in, or what isn't going to be okay for us. And then we have to be really consistent with upholding those requests that we've made. So that idea of working the boundaries, like where is the edge of what is and isn't okay, that's something you might be getting some clarity around under this very strong Saturn influence via this triple conjunction. Saturn is a serious planet, and Saturn is focused on quality, not quantity. So when we have a strong Saturn influence like this, we're really learning about how to focus on those plans, partnerships, and possibilities that really have lasting potential. I actually think Saturn often has our back and wants to guide you away from possibilities or people that don't have that sort of genuine level of commitment that you do. So Saturn is really trying to help you see how viable a plan or a dream might be. And there may be a reality check about what's going to be harder than you thought that comes through under this triple conjunction involving Saturn. It might mean that you get clear on something that isn't working or really doesn't have the depth to last. And while there are lots of themes about initiation and implementation also coming out of this triple link, I do think it's going to be about an important ending as well. And when we have an ending that emerges under a Saturn transit, it's often an ending that doesn't surprise us. It can be an ending that's overdue or that you feel has been a long time coming, like acknowledging where things are different or how things maybe just aren't in flow anymore. Maybe it's about acknowledging what is less than satisfying. This could be in a work situation, a family dynamic with a friend, or in a romantic situation. It might be about your wellness routine or your budget and your financial plans. Like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this, but this is what's really happening. How do I make a plan that I can actually honor and uphold? When we get that reality check that comes up under a Saturn aspect like this, and we get clear on maybe something that's not working well, it can sometimes prompt a chat or a discussion about how things could be adjusted. And then you get to kind of figure out who wants to work with you to make things better. Other times, that chat is a recognition of like, it's not going so well and nobody wants to change it. So that's your clue. Okay, we're ending or stopping or pausing here. And so using this Saturn influence and this triple conjunction to really identify or recognize a natural ending or a shifting point. And that may be where the maturity is, to come in and say, look, I've noticed or I've observed, or this doesn't seem to be doing what we intended it to. Where do we go from here? You don't actually have to have all the answers under a Saturn aspect like this, but sometimes somebody has to be the person to raise the issue, and that might be you this week. So when we think about this Mercury Sun Saturn combination, we've got both Mercury and Saturn moving into this condition known as Kazmi. It's a very special condition when a planet is tightly conjunct to the sun, and it is very empowering for the planet. So when a planet is in this Kazmi condition, it's got lots of influence and lots of persuasive power. It's almost like that planet kind of saturates the energy for a period of time. And anytime we have one planet Kazmi, it's really strong. But to have two planets in this Kazmi condition at the same time is quite rare and definitely really potent. So you could think about February 28th or 29th, depending on where you are, as a time of rebirth and renewal. That idea of initiating this fresh approach around Mercury and Saturn. It may be a time where life feels saturated with Mercury things, which could be lots of interaction or engaging or learning, or lots of Saturn things. Life could be saturated with Saturn, which is responsibility, duty, kind of big decisions to be made. Mercury's Kazemi, especially in Pisces, can really help with communication, with ideas, with creativity, and with spiritual development. With that Mercury Kazemi, you might learn something about yourself or a situation that helps you better express your point of view. Saturn Kazemi can help with a deeper understanding of time, of limits, of duty, and of what's really necessary. And that's where the wisdom comes in. You probably all think differently about responsibility and about talking about slightly uncomfortable subjects now than you did a decade ago or 2 decades ago. And that is the wisdom of Saturn coming through over time. Saturn is a planet that really helps us understand the difference between needs and wants, between what's essential and what's nice to have. And that doesn't mean there won't be any nice to have experiences or things this week, but it might mean that you gain a lot more wisdom and understanding about the true timeline of getting that dream going or the real cost of doing so. Sometimes, when we're really inspired and uplifted by where we're going or a vision that we have, we don't pay attention to the reality of how long it's going to take to get there, the effort required, or the cost involved. And so I think Saturn is not trying to necessarily slow you down this week, but trying to show you a more realistic picture of how long something will really take, how much energy something is really going to require of you, or how much something is really going to cost. I know from working with clients and students over the years that it's really common to have some fear around Saturn. Personally, I love that Saturn helps show me what's real. There is no faking it with Saturn, and you really get a sense of the way things are, who's with you, who's distracted by other things, but also within yourself, you get clear on what is really important. So with Saturn so strong in the mix this week, it's really getting that kind of perspective of the simplicity, the reality, but also about the necessities. So you might get a sense of who or what to focus on or what to step away from as Saturn gets so close to the Sun on the 28th, on Wednesday. So I'm hoping that some of these ideas about this special triple combination with the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn are going to help you pay attention to the ideas and the realizations that emerge for you midweek. They're bigger than just managing day-to-day, week-to-week things. If you really get clear on, I like this, I don't like that, I enjoy this person's company, I really feel tired or drained after being around that person, use that as sort of, a message from the divine about what to build your life around or what to steer your life away from going forward. I'm also hoping that these insights kind of give you the strength to let go of something that might need to end that you're really getting clear of. And I hope it also gives you the fortitude or, that backbone and that inner strength to really speak up about what you genuinely would like to explore. It's a real mix of new insight that's going to lead you forward and awareness of where we might need to end something, to step away, or to slow things down. And those two things are going to work together. If you're impatient for the beginning, see if there's something that you can end. Clearing that space and opening up that energy is going to help you tap in to the fresh ideas. It is a very special week. Mercury Kazemi the Sun, Saturn Kazemi the Sun, that triple lineup of Mercury, Sun, and Saturn together. And I hope that you have a really special day on Wednesday as well. If you are curious about aspects or you want to know more about this Kazemi thing or its counterpoint aspect, combust and combustion, I hope to see you in my online aspects course, which starts this week. You'll learn about all 5 aspects as well as combustion and Kazemi in that course. You can register via my website, kellysastrology.com. Thanks for listening, everyone. I so appreciate you joining me. I will be back with more next week. Until then, take care.